He had over 7 years of experience and one of the founder member of KM Practice Wipro Infotech. He has worked extensively on end-to-end knowledge management strategy, knowledge management technology, product management and implementation, knowledge management consulting, framework development, technology implementation, content and strategic process management, successful initiatives, service excellence, quality management, lead management and process enhancement. So let's welcome Satish Prashad. And somebody would like to have a refreshment, it's available on the right hand side.
Good evening. Good afternoon. So, my name is Satish Prasad. I head the KM and technical training function for Dell Services. Now, as we heard Mahesh, he was targeting what I feel is that the target audience was the upper end of the pyramid. The elite customers of knowledge management, BMWs and Mercedes ones. And today I'm going to target the bottom end of the pyramid because I believe that the opportunity lies at the bottom of the pyramid. So that is where I'm going to focus. So sometimes in order to create a lot of high-end stuff for our audiences, we forget our 80% of the population. And what I personally believe that if we don't make the connect with that 80%, then knowledge management initiative in any organization will not be termed as a very successful function or an initiative unless they feel that bottom of the pyramid feels connected with the knowledge management initiative. So today there is a box, it looks like a lunch box. So there are some 5 or 6 small stuff which I want to share. I hope you will have 1 or 2 to take home and do something with that. And these are the small low-hanging fruits which if we implement, which I have done personally in 17 years of my career and association with knowledge management, which has started way back in '97. So I have done it somewhere or the other in my career, and I have seen these bringing a lot of benefit and a lot of connect from the ground. So that is why I call it survival kit. So these 5-6 things, if you have, this will actually give you the value for the knowledge management within the organization. So this is what we as a KM professional experience sometimes, or rather I would say most of the time. ये करते क्या है यार? कुछ मेल भेजते रहते हैं, कोई बोलते हैं keep on doing something. I mean, what do they do actually? Tell me, am I right or wrong? I don't know. Yeah, okay. It's my personal experience. So, I mean, sound familiar? I hope. How many agree? Okay, so good. So generally, the value what we create, what I personally feel is that unless that bottom of the pyramid where we call here the software and senior software engineer and up to team leader kind of population, I can create a lot of neural network maps and all those kind of stuff, but I don't know how many people are going to use it, and I may take 2 years to create that. So that is where I was talking about the effort versus the ROI and whom I am addressing that. So here very small 5-6 things which I have done personally. So these are some of the things, few essentials. You don't need to, I mean if these 6 or 7 things if we do, I mean people will know that they are doing something which is useful for me. So you don't need to stand everywhere and justify yourself at the smoking zone or at the cafeteria. So some areas, some 4 or 5 things which positions came within the organization, doing little research on 2-3 things, then what people are looking for basically. So I don't know how many of you have built in a kind of process to capture the words what they are searching for. Okay, that's very good. So I think generally we ignore all this most of the times. So if we try to capture, we keep on giving them. Okay, this is what you need. This is what you need. This is what you take it. I have taken it from here. This is very good. But we have not asked so many times that what do you need. So, and the best and natural way of asking that what do you need is that you start capturing the keyword what people are searching for in your portal. If you capture for 1 month, you will get to know what people are looking for if you analyze those keywords. So these are very small things. A bit of analytics and a bit of common sense, which sometimes is not very common. So, and I think these things are will take you home. Some of the testimonials from those people, etc. And lot of marketing and lot of leverage around that. So, what are these 6 or 7 elements? So, what I have found that some general information for new hires. I mean, it's a lot of chaos for 1 month if somebody joins. Where will I get the transportation? How do I make ID card? Where do I go for the bank registration? And every department has their own portal. Okay, transport portal, HR portal, finance portal, payroll portal, this portal, that portal. And in portal he will keep on going around 1 month just looking at the portal. So why not make one kit and do a time and motion study with 2 or 3 freshers who join and see their 1 month what they do and what all information do they require, and why not make those available at one place and just give them one address when they join that go here you will find everything. Is it okay? I mean, it sounds logical. And so, I think we are going to save a lot of man hours. They will do some productive work. The learning would be faster, the information gathering would be faster, and it will help a lot. They will get the instant connect, and it also gives you an opportunity as a KM team to catch them young. When they are entering the organization, that time only you have given them something. So they will say, okay, first when I join, KM is the place where I go and I find everything, and from the day when they find a connect with the knowledge management. So this is one area. Then there are some sales essentials. Now this is a very classic example. When I started knowledge management in Wipro way back in 2001, we built a taxonomy where there was sales and marketing was one portion of the taxonomy, and it had other sub-classification, proposal, presentations, case studies, whatever. So I thought, okay, everything is there, fine. Now we have given all nice proposals. We got begged, borrowed, taken from here, there, all put their presentation. We thought everything is done. But I used to see whenever people used to submit a RFP response or a tender or a this thing, last moment, 11th hour, they will keep on discussing the price, first of all. But 12 o'clock is the submission. Till 11 o'clock, they will not get the final clearance for the price. So they get at 11 o'clock. And after that, when they are compiling the papers to submit, they will go through the list. And it will ask 3 years IT returns, certificate of incorporation, 3 years general insurance and liability certificate, ISO certificate, CMMI certificate. Oh my God! Now where will these come from? Somebody is calling from here, somebody is calling from Guwahati, somebody is calling from Chandigarh, fax it, call finance, no call quality, CMMI certificate will be there. So all this hoopla used to happen, and last moment somehow, I don't know, sometimes they used to make it, sometimes they will submit it without those documents. So I saw this happening every day, this happening in the organization. So why not make one small link, essential documents required for RFPs, and I started putting all those kind of, scan it and put it, whatever, whatever certificate, whatever the 3 years IT returns, in certificate of incorporation, 3 years audited financial result, all these kind of stuff. There are I think there would be hundreds of them. If you really scan these type of weird documents, there are some hundreds of them. So if you really find in the organization, and sometimes people used to ask unique one. So if I have done some 30, and I don't have the 31st one is being asked by the salesperson. So I will go and find it out. I mean, it will take some effort. I will get it, but okay, next time I have 31. I don't have 30. So like that I made it 70, 80, and after that, and that one link was the maximum used link in my repository. I mean, I used to track which one is getting downloaded from where, and all repository one side, 200,000 document, and those 80 document one side. I mean, those 80 documents were getting more downloaded than as compared to 200,000 artifacts which I had in my repository. So this is one very good area which I think you should try to implement, which will help a lot. These sales folks will give you a lot of dua from bottom of their heart. So now third one. Okay, so let me go, I think those things only I have explained here. These were the general information which came in my mind. There could be 100 other things. These are the sales essentials. Yeah, most of the customers, they ask that, have you done a work this kind where more than 1,000 man hours or more than 10,000 man hours or more than this kind of deployment or that kind of deployment, this demographic, this geographic, 10 locations put together. So they ask for reference. So those purchase orders, specific purchase orders of those nature, which are large in nature, they help a lot. So this troubleshooting is another area. This is from the service delivery point of view. So if you have maintenance kind of a project, or let's say service desk kind of a project, etc. So if you see typically the kind of problems which come, nobody goes through that. I mean, call comes, they log the call and they start working on that. So this is the general tendency. Nobody sees that what is the kind of calls what we are getting. And generally, if you analyze, take last 3 months data or 1 month data, you will see that 80%, 80% calls are solved by 20% of the issues. So if you are able to resolve those 20% of the issues, you take care of your 80% of the calls. So what you do, take those 20% of the issues, which may be 7 or 8 or 10 in nature, and sit with a subject matter expert, get a proper workflow design to identify and resolve those issues, and just put it in the system. And keep changing every 3 months, keep analyzing every 3 months, because the problems will change. Because when Windows 7 was launched, suddenly your calls will shoot up. Let's say you are a Windows support, so suddenly your calls will shoot up. And if you know just 5 or 6 reasons, you will take care of your 80% of the calls. So when Windows launched their Windows 7, I was the head of quality for Wipro BPO, and we were supporting them from Hyderabad. So our offices, incidentally, Wipro's office and Microsoft office are opposite to each other. So Microsoft had a big poster, put Windows 7 is here. So we had put also a equally big poster, support is here. so that was, anyway, so that is where I did this first time. So much of calls, that call volume has gone up 10 times as soon as they launched Windows 7. I mean, you cannot increase your workforce by 10 times overnight. So you have to do something. And this was the scenario where we had to do something. Kuch karo. So this came in very handy. We analyzed. So everybody is getting the same problem, 3 or 4 or 5 problems. So let's get on to that problem. So this is on the troubleshooting side. Yeah, this emergency information help desk. So, I mean, even if we don't have in 2003 or 2004 times, we went ahead and announced that if you need any information, write km@wipro.com, we will revert back to you within 3 hours. Okay, I knew that maybe 50% of the time it may not be possible to revert with the relevant information what the person is asking, but what is wrong in saying? At least he will come and say that the guy has put in effort, at least I'll give him something. And in the process, I'll get something. So, because I used to look for information, we used to look for information, so we used to get a lot of information. And this has also given a lot of connect from the people, because they really started believing that there is somebody within the organization who responds. Who responds, and they genuinely help, try to help. They will go here, there, they will go find out, they will go. So if I am a person, I need a particular information or a particular knowledge, and rather than me going and asking 10 different people, going to finance, going to quality, going to this thing, if I write it to KM and KM is doing that work for me, I mean, this gives a lot of confidence in me that there is something, some kind of mechanism is there in the organization where the help or information or the collective information or the previous work, whatever we have done, is available somewhere. And we used to get these kind of queries. Have we done some work for oil and gas company in 10 location, this kind of this, or treasury management, or so these kind of questions we used to get from these people. And we used to give them information, oh, this is the work what we have done, looks like. Somebody will ask some data center design, somebody will ask some architecture, somebody will ask some project plan of a particular nature, so this kind of information they used to ask and we used to give them. So this created a lot of credibility for the KM organization within that yes, KM is there, they are sitting on a lot of information and they really respond. There is somebody who listens to me within the organization.
But what was the source of information for the KM?
We used to slog. We used to slog. So
that is
one is
required.
so I'll just for an example. When they started KM, I had 40,000 document in my repository in 1 year, and I knew all 40,000 by name. All 40,000. If you ask me, I was in a position to tell whether I have that or I don't have that, because I personally used to go through each and every document before it is published. Their look, feel, PDF conversion, whatever is written, not written. So that is where the value addition which comes from the knowledge management team. Otherwise, if I am taking and putting it just like that, there is no value addition which comes. So there's always that you take the information, analyze it, process it, and then you put it for mass consumption. So that is where the KM team comes into picture. Yeah, and this is again one area, the standard templates and standard. It could be a standard template, a standard presentation, a standard. Just a simple example. How many times we send minutes of the meeting? Every day we send one of the minutes, and every format will be different. Everybody will use different format. So why we cannot use the same format for minutes of the meeting? I mean, I'm not just talking about minute of the meeting. There could be different things. So the standard templates, standard quality templates, standard presentations, L1, L2 presentations, your standard RFP responses for the various verticals or the various businesses, etc. So those things can be put in, and there are a lot of standard things within the organization. I mean, if you start looking, you will get thousands of things which can be standardized, and I think those are very much required because people generally look for this kind of information. That can you give me? Can you forward me a template? Can you forward? If somebody asks you that, give me a BRD. The first question you will get, can you send me some old BRD or a format for a BRD? So why can't we put a format for a BRD? So these kind of things. So this is one area, and yeah, estimation models is one more thing. Yeah, and this is last but interesting. So these account managers and delivery managers for the large accounts, which are, let's say, top 20 or 30 accounts or 50 accounts, whatever, they have a lot of tacit knowledge. I mean, salespeople generally, they thrive on their tacit knowledge, what they have. How I run this account is only known to me. I get you the business, but how do I run this account is only known to me. So what we did is that get into a structured interview once in a quarter. I have a proper questionnaire, I'll video shoot it, I'll do a proper interview like it is done in the television. And you ask the questions that, okay, who are the key people, what is the customer thinking of in the next 6 months doing, what are their budget, which all are the applications which they are planning to modernize, which are the applications they are planning to replace, what do you think the competition is doing in that account, who is the competition, etc. So these kind of information only a person will have in his mind. I mean, he will never put it on the paper. So once you are doing these interviews and putting the videos every 3 months, and let's say if an account manager moves and a new account manager comes, I mean, rather than me taking 3 months to know the account, if I go through your 3 interviews or 4 interviews, last 4 interviews, I'll know black and white what is happening in that account and what is not happening in that. Similarly, from the delivery point of view, what is critical, what is not critical, how many people, when ramp up, when ramp down, what application, not application, so all those information. Thirdly, this is also very important from the senior management vision point of view. So these top accounts, generally you will see VP is visiting today, or president is going to meet their CIO, or this thing is happening, that thing is happening. So they would like to get a crisp kind of a capsule that what has happened, what all escalations has happened in this account, what all development has happened in this account, how the account has been doing for the last 1 year, 2 years, etc. So I think there it works very beautifully that if somebody goes through this kind of half an hour video, it gives them a lot of insight into what is happening into that account and a lot of ideas on that. So this is one area. And so that's it. I had 13 slides of torture. Out of that, one is start and one is thank you, and this is the last one. So these are some of the word of wisdom, and now I am open for Q&A, if at all you have any.
How do you take care of controlling the access of this? So the way you are telling is anybody can ask
No.
any of these questions.
Which one? Sorry.
No, all these points. Of course, onboarding and those
Yes.
are all fine. Those
Yes.
are common information.
Only thing your sales interview.
Not the sales interview and the past PO information and all those things.
PO information is okay. PO is yours. I mean, even if you show that PO to somebody, it doesn't make any difference. It's yeah. That is another point. Sometimes as a game professional, we become too scary, and we only try to hold the information or put some kind of a log or things like that. I mean, like people may say that it's very confidential information, but it doesn't make any difference. I mean, PO is PO. Once it's a PO, it's a PO. And maybe you can mask the numbers. I mean, like financials or dollar value or etc. Otherwise, I think the nature of the work or the work description. I mean, that is.
I have a question.
Sure.
While we hold on to the traditional approaches of KM,
Right.
with the latest technological developments, how do you see these Yammer person-to-person connect would really help in fetching this information on a day-to-day basis in an organization?
It does, because it's not person-to-person connect. It's basically person to a specialist connect. When somebody is reaching out to KM, he's not reaching out to a person, he's reaching out to an organization, right? And why he or she is reaching out to that organization? Because that organization is sitting on a lot of knowledge from the organization. And you can say that the knowledge management team is sitting on the collective wisdom of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, yes, it is helpful. It's one-on-one, I won't say it's of much help, but yes, if I am reaching out to a specialist, yes, it will help.
Okay. And maybe while at the beginning of your presentation, the way you introduced was really appreciated.
Thank you.
And wanted to really check with you, how can we, think of positioning KM as one of those strategic departments within an organization, besides those like finance operations, which are critical for an organization to run. What do you think, in your personal experience?
Your existence in an organization is not defined by you, or you do you make lot of noise, a lot of sound that I am important. People will not accept you that you are important. People have to say that you are important, and they have to see that value proposition coming out from you. So by doing these small things, and there could be many other things I mean, these are just some 6-7 examples. I mean, there could be many things. That value chain and that relationship with your audience has to be established.
Mm-hmm.
And unless that is established, and that importance is going to come from your customers, you are not going to create importance for yourself. You cannot say, I am very important to the organization. Your clients are only going to say that, no, I need this services of this organization, and they are really doing a good job. So that is very important. Yes, you have to do marketing, but marketing like you do a testimonial session, you go and call a KM forum, where you call senior management also and call your audience also, and let them narrate their real-time experience where KM has helped, etc. So this will help translate that faith of the individuals to the senior management also. That will also get transferred. So you get the buy-in of senior management, you get the buy-in of your audience, and then that's how you establish the relationship.
Leveraging the day-to-day
Absolutely, you have to
experience.
leverage. I mean, you cannot do anything. You have to leverage.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one question. Your slide, the header says that hope you don't need to justify.
Sorry.
The slide header says hope you don't need to justify ROI. So,
This is one very difficult thing I have found in the knowledge management is ROI.
correct. So, and I agree with you. It's something that even we've been struggling with. What are some other justifications that you can give to management to justify investment in KM?
See, I have done a Six Sigma project. I am a black belt myself. I have done a Six Sigma project for ROI. Okay. And when you go to justify the ROI for KM, you ultimately come down to effort. How much effort I have saved.
Yeah.
Right? So, what I used to do, that I go to my audience once in 3 months, do a survey, and ask them how many of, do you think, go to salespeople and ask how many proposals you would have submitted, let's say. Out of that, how many you have used KM? Out of that, let's say each time whenever you took help from KM, what is the percentage do you think it would have helped you in your overall effort? Okay, so you say, okay, 5%. 3, I submitted 10. Out of that, I used KM in 3. Out of that, 5%. Okay, I calculated. Then go by the standard hours. How much hours does it take to create a proposal or a presentation or a whatever, case study or whatever it is, and calculate the number of hours with the number of people, and that's how convert it to dollar value. That is what the maximum I could do with respect to ROI. That is the black and white figure which you can show it to management. Otherwise, it's all softer. It's all softer aspect of ROI which you have to bring into your this thing. Like for example, we do Project Olympics. Now, Project Olympics is he was showing the video of that festival in Mindtree. So it's something like that. And in that, all various projects who have done very good work, they showcase, the stalls are put in, they explain, people go there, etc. So, and at the end, some 3 or 4 are selected, and 10 are given an opportunity to be presented with the senior management, and then 3 or 4 are decided as a winner. What happens in that? It's a 3-day event. Okay. What happens at the end of the event? There are some ideas which can be converted into products, which can be made into a mass production, which can go into factory model, which can, so these kind of things, which would not have come otherwise. If that event would not have happened, that would have remained within the project. but that has a potential to become a product, or that has a potential to grow. You can take it to market to the larger customer base, etc., etc. So these are the software results which you can say. I cannot calculate any dollar value that becomes product and it earns millions of dollars. I cannot say that is because of the KM, right? But yes, I can at least say that okay, KM has helped in bringing out these kind of hidden good work which has been done within the organization. So that's it. Any other question? Anybody? Thank you very much.
Thank you.